were told to vest. And after we put on the stoles that we brought, the bossy MC came back over and said that we didn't have the right stoles on, and ordered some unseen person to get these men proper stoles. We got them a moment later, but we had no idea why. After the Pope's homily, we were told to come out of the corral, line up 2 by 2 on a red carpet where the Holy Father had entered Mass. And we were handed large chalices of wine and bowls of hosts. We still didn't know why. A little deacon behind me asked me, "What do we do?" I said, "Hey, we're deacons. Just watch the guys in front of you and make it look like that." Then we were told to start moving. And as I passed the Jumbotron at the base of that huge platform and saw all 10 feet of me being broadcast live across the world, I knew that the 3 deacons from Lexington had been among those selected to assist the Holy Father at Mass. And I promptly said a little prayer. Please, 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 let Cindy be watching. She was. We were led up to the front of the altar where we stood facing the Pope and held the bread and the wine as he transformed them into the body and blood of Jesus Christ during the Eucharistic prayer. We were then led down to offer the Eucharist to the thousands of priests in attendance. And you know, every annoyance and hardship, big and little, that we had endured on this pilgrimage was turned into pure gold by this glorious and very unexpected grace. And believe me, I plan to tell your grandchildren as well as my own. Now, the people in today's gospel were also on a pilgrimage. They had heard that Jesus was in the area and went out to find him and be in his presence. They had suffered hardships of their own, and Jesus was moved with pity for them. He healed those needing and taught those with ears to hear. As pilgrims, they were willing to put themselves out in order to fill themselves up. But this is my favorite part. When it got late, the apostles approached Jesus and urged him to dismiss the 5,000 families who were there and have them go off and fend for themselves. He didn't get it. Jesus doesn't let anybody who needs him fend for themselves. The 12 probably just didn't want the responsibility for so many, and they passed the buck to Jesus. And he passed it right back. You can do it yourselves, he said. Now, can you imagine what was going through their minds at this moment? Hey, I like a little joke as well as the next fellow, but this carpenter's a few bubbles off. Plumb again. Now, being God, Jesus could have zapped up a Walmart superstore right there on the very hillside they were at. But what did he do? He challenged and engaged his apostles with the task of feeding the multitude. The best that they could do was come up with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, which in John's Gospel they had to get from some Jew. But look at this church. That small effort on their part had a huge effect when joined with the power of Christ. Everyone was filled with lots left over. And the lesson is the same for us right now as it was for the apostles 2,000 years ago. We can't do it without him. He won't do it without us. If ever there was anyone who could have accomplished the entire task of salvation unaided, it was Jesus Christ. Yet with unparalleled humility, he chose fellow workers like you and me, and he gathered disciples not to pay him homage, but to perform a very strange and curious service to help him, the King of the universe, save the world. That was the message we pilgrims received in Sydney. That is the message that we bring to our parishes and our dioceses. The universality of our church is a sign to the whole world that we are indeed all in this together. Feed the multitudes? With Jesus we can. Heal those who are hurting? With Christ we can. Rise above our own hardships? With the King we can. Assist at a papal mass? With the universal high priest we can. Build a new church? If we're his disciples, you bet we can. But remember this. We can't savor the resurrection. That is, we can't do it without him, without bearing the crucifixion. In other words, he won't do it without us. George Cardinal Pell, Archbishop of Sydney, told all of us pilgrims at the opening Mass that one mission is worth 1,000 options. Because we can get so very distracted by all the trappings of this world that we take our eyes off the prize. We all have a mission. And that mission begins right here in the parish setting. And by the way, do you know where the word parish comes from? It comes from the Greek word paroikos, which means pilgrim. We are all on a pilgrimage. And we're all called to do our part to build the kingdom, as individuals and as church. And God is telling us today in his gospel that even our puny efforts can have huge benefits when joined with the power of Christ. Because we can't do it without him. He won't do it without us.